We've got a great guest joining us this afternoon for a view across the world and across assets. William Lee is the chief economist at the Milken Institute. Bill, as I know him, great to see you again, Bill.
Great to be here, Oliver. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on such a big day. So you've got a note out that says tariffs take the blame for slower near-term growth and market volatility. Walk me through it.
In fact, they unfairly take the blame. And I think the reason why is because, let me give you the following analogy. Suppose you're a cardiologist and have a patient with atrial fibrillation. You're going to prescribe the state-of-the-art product, which is Coumadin. And it's a blood thinner because you want to prevent blood clots. But you're also going to tell the patient, hey, look, you're going to have to change your diet, got to get exercise, and now I'm going to give you other medications to help your heart condition. So Coumadin, by the way, do you know, is rat poison? And It's a poison.
I guess I didn't.
And in fact, rat poison is what you prescribe for someone with atrial fibrillation, but you do it in controlled dosages with an expert. That's exactly what's happening with the tariff debate. Tariffs are just one instrument that President Trump is using in a big package of economic policies. And they're designed to do a bunch of things, which is smaller government, lower taxes, fewer regulations, and incentives for foreigners to invest in the United States. That's what he's trying to go for. And the package of lower taxes, smaller government, and fewer regulations hasn't even started yet. So we're obsessing about the use of rat poison, or tariffs in this case, and not really looking at the rest of the package. So I think we need to be fair. And if, in fact, if the markets are down, and for me, the reason they should be down is because President Trump is using up so much of his political capital. I'm not clear he's going to be able to put in place fewer regulations, smaller government, and lower taxes. Because that's the ingredient that's going to really make things work.
Okay.
The rat poison, the tariffs are just a sideline, and especially the revenues from tariffs is even a smaller sideline. So I think the discussion that we've heard in the marketplace is completely misplaced.
Okay, I want to come back to the point about the other policies and how some of this might use up political capital to kind of mess up the bailout strategy of all these things working together, right? Because in theory, you know, they're arguing, his team, that all these things can work together. They might, you know, be awkward pieces to put together at first. But let's go back to the strategy of the tariffs and the rat poison thing. All credit to modern medicine. Wonderful stuff, but it also is pretty scientific. Do you think this administration is scientific? Because the argument now is that they might overdo it. And the stock market's saying, if you blow me up, stock market, then you're taking too much of that poison. Is there a message in there we should listen to?
There is a clear message, and I think President Trump could have done better in trying to introduce why it is that tariffs are necessary. There's a lot of mixed messages. Oh, we could use the revenues to offset the deficit and that kind of stuff. It's not the revenues are not from the tariffs. The revenues are from the jobs and factories that are created from foreign investments coming in here, and the income and profits that are created. That's where the tariff revenue is going to come from, not the tariffs themselves. And the barriers to trade, the things that create all these huge bilateral surpluses and deficits that we see that President Trump was talking about. It's really non-tariff barriers that are the key. It's not, the tariff levels are very small in most countries, but the non-tariff barriers, the regulations and the legal requirements for American products to be sold abroad are really enormous. Those are where the differences are. And what President Trump's team did was a shortcut that was a pretty, you know, tricky shortcut, and they didn't take time to explain it. We're going to say we can't go through line by line all these non-tariff restrictions. So we're going to use a proxy, the size of the trade deficit we have with the country. The bigger the deficit means that there's more and more barriers, whether they're tariff or non-tariff. So now we're going to give you a big number. Now come to the table and talk to us. What are you going to do? If you have 100% tariff against an American product and we have 0 against yours, then you have a free market here. And we're going to shove up our tariff to say 100%. We shut your market down. That means you have nothing to export to us. And right. I think that's the key, is you don't want to lose the American market because it's the largest marketplace for you.
Exactly. That's where this whole concept of like these retaliatory tariffs, I mean, look, it's not that I would love for these countries with wonderful, beautiful people to have all these different types of exports, but they don't. If they have one or two specific things, and you know, that's how a lot of these economies are. Even the big ones, though, too, still largely depend on us. So maybe they have more, you know, maneuverability. But how much do they have to really push against us right now? The dollar is basically like saying that the whole economy is going to flip on its head, and then we're going to like lag behind them. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around.
The rational response is not to raise tariffs against us, but to come to the table and say, I will lower my tariff, right, just to be able to say you lower your nominal tariff that you just put up yesterday, and ensure my market, like Grey Goose, right? Grey Goose vodka from France, right? They can sell here freely, but our spirits are tariffed over there, so we can't sell over there. The Tintos, which is American vodka, doesn't sell over there. So we don't have a market there. But if we put 100% tariff against them, that means Grey Goose loses completely everything. And all they have to do is reduce the tariff against Tintos, and I'm cool, right? You now have your market. I now have a new market. So tariffs really should be going down in a rational negotiation. Now, let's face it. Politicians are politicians. They're going to want to posture and say, there's no way some American president is going to push me around. And so they're going to initially, for the next 2 weeks or so, start pushing things up and stuff. But I hope they will be rational to the point where they want to help their companies keep their marketplace in the United States, and they will come to us and say, all right, let's negotiate and let's move all the barriers down.
Great stuff. Not just because I largely agreed, I feel the logic is very tight. So the last point, to circle back on something you said earlier, Bill, which is the rest of the MAGA policies, if you will, the Trump policies, which are the ones that you think are most necessary to offset some of this tariff so-called rat poison? Which ones do they really need to get through if they're going to put a strain on ours and everyone else's economy?
The biggest constraint of foreigners to invest in the United States and creating plants is regulation. And it's not just federal regulations, but state and local stuff as well. Imagine California trying to build something there, like a refinery. So you're going to have to do something about lowering regulations across the board. That's the hardest thing to do. The second hardest thing to do is lowering taxes, because that requires Congress. So those are the areas where I would look for. I think the incentives for getting foreigners to invest here, he's already said in his Davos speech, very first speech when he first came into office in January, America is open for business, including for investments from China. So he's really inviting China and to say, look, be a partner with us.
That's
build
pretty
stuff
revelatory.
Here, and really be a partner instead of being a competitor. And I think that's the offer he's given to everyone. If you're a competitor, you face a tariff wall. If you're a partner and build stuff here, you get the benefits of fewer regulations, fewer taxes, and a huge marketplace.
Man, I feel that you have really presented the strongest counterpoint I've heard to a lot of the narrative right now, Bill, because it can be framed. Right now it's being seen as this highly negative, aggressive thing, but actually what you're arguing is this could be a teamwork thing. This could be an invitation in a way that might seem a little bit twisted because it puts everybody under some pressure, but if the pieces fall into place. Thank you, Bill. We got to jump. I appreciate you as always. Excellent analysis.
Take care.
Thank you. William Lee, Chief Economist at the Milken Institute.